Good evening and welcome to the Demonland podcast. My name is Andy, and joining me tonight again, Grapeviney. Good evening, Grapeviney.
Good evening, Andy. Where's my ticket to the Gold Coast, if that's where you are?
Yeah, we are live tonight from the Gold Coast. Well, I'm in the Gold Coast. And yeah, if it sounds like I'm recording or broadcasting from inside a bathroom, well, I'm not far off. I'm in a tiled apartment. So if you hear any echoing, that's probably just the sound bouncing off all the walls and the tiles. So I apologise for that. We also won't be taking any calls because I don't have all my equipment here. So yeah, please bear with this amateur-sounding podcast, but we'll do our best next week to sound a little bit better. Grapeviney, how are you feeling after the
I'm
game?
feeling fine, Andy. We've actually got a big breaking story tonight on the podcast. As our listeners would know, the Demonland podcast gets the interviews that others can't get, such as Alan Jakovich, and we also break the big stories that other media outlets don't find out about. And I can tell you tonight that the AFL is investigating a case of ball tampering in a match on the weekend.
Wow.
It's the Geelong Melbourne match that we attended. And if you go back and you have a look at the replay, in the final seconds when Max is shooting at goal, the ball is clearly affected by reverse swing. And that's what took it off course from going through the big sticks and registering a behind. And it's clear what's happened here, and the AFL needs to take decisive action against the Cats for this egregious crime.
Well, that certainly makes me sleep better at night. Do we know who it was that was tampering with the ball prior to Maxi kicking it?
No, that's what the AFL is investigating at the moment. So stand by. We'll bring you further updates as they come to hand.
Well, it certainly sounds interesting, and yeah, if we can blame someone for that loss, well, I'd like to blame anyone but ourselves. So you're feeling okay? Is that it's not
Yep.
the sky hasn't fallen on your house yet?
No. I know that there are the usual doomsayers on Demonland. There's been a lot of nonsense written on the board over the past few days, but I'm pretty relaxed about things. What about you?
Well, I was devastated. Gutted is the word after that. As the days wore on, I sort of felt a little bit better. I was never in the sky is falling camp. When it comes down to it, we were a kick away from beating a top 4 team. I know they didn't have Dangerfield, but they had a pretty good replacement in Gary Ablett, and you have Selwood and Ablett getting 40 touches apiece, and we took it right up to them, and we probably should have won. We didn't, but it's not like we got thumped. In years past, we would have lost that game by a lot, particularly when they after that second quarter.
I thought at the end of it, in the sort of a wash-up, I thought if we'd got up, we would have stolen it. Did you feel that way? I mean, roughly, if you look at I know we won the first quarter, but really they seemed to be the better side in the first half, and then obviously we took over in the second. But I sort of left feeling that it would have been a steal had Maxi kicked straight.
Look, I'll never not take a steal. I'll steal any victory we can get, any goal we can get from a free kick. I'll take any of that. I won't begrudge that. But yeah, I couldn't believe that we were still in it, and to the point where we could have won it. For the whole match, I kept thinking we were further and further behind, just because I thought, as you said, we would have stolen it. They played a lot better than us. They, obviously they found it hard to score at the end, but their play all around the field was a lot smoother than our play. It seemed like it was a lot easier for them to transition from defence down to their forward line, but they weren't getting goals in the second half, and we were.
Well, Goody changed things up a bit, and I think the team overall, and he's mentioned this, and others have mentioned it on Demonland. There was poor team defence in the first half, as well as some unusually poor performances from some of the better backmen. Nev Jetta didn't have a great game, and Michael Hibberd was probably got better in the second half, but didn't have a great first half.
Lever had a
terrible
Lever
had a shocker of a first half, but all over the ground, we let them move the ball very easily. We just didn't work hard enough running the other way, I thought, in the first half, but changed up a bit at half time.
Yeah, you have a look at the stats, and stats sort of told a bit of a story. We had a lot of handballs, a lot less kicks than they did, a lot less marks. They had a lot of uncontested marks, and we just had different styles of play. They were sort of pinpoint and chipping it around, and always finding a loose man, and we were sort of getting it handball, long bomb, and wasn't working for most of the game for us.
We didn't seem that handball happy in the JLT.
No.
And I thought a lot of times a lot of players lacked composure.
It was a bit manic, it was
as though they'd prepared for that manic round one pressure. But in situations where it wasn't there, you saw players just panicking. Melksham's missed shot on goal.
Yep.
In the second quarter. You had Lever, just putting the ball onto his boot and kicking in hope without even looking, which is right out of character. So there was a lot of that, which I suppose you get in round one. It's always a bit hard to read into, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I just thought even when we were handballing, it wasn't pinpoint. It was either too high, too low, too far. We just weren't hitting the targets with the handballs, and it didn't work. So there's I would say a bit of work they got to do to get that to where we needed to be. But we also had I thought guys like Alex Neil-Bullen had a one of his worst games, considering he's had such a great pre-season and was so good in jail.
Yeah, lots of players were down, weren't they?
Yeah.
So to lose by a couple of points is not the end of the world, as you said. But also interesting is, early in the second quarter when Oliver kicked that goal, we were 7-1. And I think from there on we kicked 6-14 or 6-15.
Yeah.
So, bad kicking is always bad football. And it also speaks to the inability to go into 50 in an efficient way and in a way that allowed us to sort of capitalise to capitalise on what we were doing. So there were some bad misses in that 6-15, but there also we were not shooting from necessarily the best angles and close to goal some of the time. So they need to fix up the inside 50s too.
Yeah, definitely. What was happening with I just lost my train of thought there for a second, but our kicking into the forward line, I thought really is not great. I don't think we can continue just bombing it in. It's not working.
There were just occasions where they kicked to Jeffy and he had two tall players on him basically, and it's just, what are we doing? And I thought last year a lot, we had the same problem, but on occasions we're actually really good inside 50, and players like Neil-Bullen and Tommy Bugg are quite good at finding space inside 50. And you see players like Petraka who can hit them up. So They've just got to get the mix right more of the time than they are at the moment.
What happened? Do you know what this happened with Oliver when he kicked that behind? He took a mark, and was that called play on because he just sort of took it and just kicked?
I haven't gone back and
Yeah.
seen it, but I noticed somebody mentioned on the board before. I think it might have been RJ that he'd had a look, and that the umpire's call or that the whistle came very late and came after another call of play on.
Okay.
So Oliver might have thought, I think it was a short kick, so Oliver might have thought that it hadn't gone the required distance and thought he'd better hurry up and go. But I mean, that is one of my pet umpiring hates. This chipping of the ball over 6 and 7 and 8 metres, and they call it a mark every time.
Yeah.
So that just absolutely infuriates me. And Geelong played the short chipping game, and I can't stand seeing that.
Yeah, they did a lot of small, short kicks, chipping it around, and they just seem to always be in space and be able to find that man. And we just the way we play, we weren't covering that because that's not our style.
Drunken 167 says that the other umpire called play on, so it might have been a case of one umpire blowing the whistle and the other calling play on. I'm not sure.
I'm just being told in the chat room that I'm a little bit hard to hear, so maybe I do need to turn up my mic. I'm not using my normal equipment, so bear with me. I hope. What did you think of Petraka's game in the middle?
He was superb. He's turning into the player we knew he would be. He's improving his tank, so he's able to spend more time in the middle and really dangerous going forward. So love to watch him play.
Yeah, he's a great player to watch play. I mean, when he gets going. I'm just struggling with my audio here, so apologise if you can't hear me.
He's really good at he's got a quick he's quick over the first few steps, isn't he? Like you see him break away from packs quite a bit and get out on his own. So it's great to watch him play, and it's going to get better and better.
Yeah, I really like him. Who else?
And it would have been it's probably Petraka v Gawn for the in terms of votes for the BNF, wouldn't it be? They were the two best for Melbourne.
Yeah, on the Demonland Player of the Year votes, I think Petraka took it out this week. Hold on a sec. I've just got to fix something here. Apologise, this is live radio, folks. Just trying to pick up my levels. All right. If anyone's in the chat room, if you can just let me know if I sound a bit better now. That'd be much appreciated. Anyone else stand out for you?
No, they were the two standout. I mean, Oliver, I thought was great again as usual. I thought Oscar McDonald had a pretty good game. I know he got outbodied once or twice, but other than that, he was really good. Oscar, probably the best of the defenders on the day. Quite a few players came into it after half time that really hadn't seen it in the first half. I mean, Mitch Hannon, I don't even know if he had a touch in the first half, but bobbed up a bit in the second. So
yes,
lots of players down, more players down than up. That's for sure.
When we talk about a player like Mitch Hannon, did he bob up? Did he kick 2 goals? I can't remember whether he kicked 1 or 2.
No, I think it was 1. But, he might have missed another, didn't he?
Yeah. So what do we do with a player like Hannon? if he's kicking 1 or 2 goals a game, is that enough with only 5 or 6 possessions, or do we persist with that? I know then you have a look at Garlett. Garlett also, didn't really perform so well. I mean, what do we do there with those type of players?
There's lots of people are calling for Jeffy to be dropped, which I think is crazy. He's not, he does drop in and out of games, but offers much more. He's great around goals when he's on, and his pressure's great when he's on. So Garlett's a permanent fixture for mine unless things went really sour. Hannon's a bit more of an issue because he really can be absent for long periods of time. I'm a big fan. I know you are too. And look, if a player's kicking 2 goals a week, it's hard to put them out of the side. But if you're not kicking your 2 goals a week and you're only getting a handful of touches, then your spot's probably in jeopardy, particularly with Bug, Neil Bullen, Bailey Fritsch now is competing for a similar sort of spot. So I think it's a possibility that Hannon might even be dropped this weekend.
Interesting. What did you think about Bailey's first up?
Didn't see a lot of it. Was great early. I think he kicked our first 2 scores, didn't he?
Yep.
The mark was sensational and had just a hint of Darren Cuthbertson about it, I thought.
Yeah. I believe
that high-flying.
Cuthbertson took an almost identical mark out at Waverley.
Yep.
In one of his first games, yeah.
Yep. So, look, I think they'll certainly persist with Bailey Fritsch. Hannon might be the one in trouble first, I would have thought. If there is to be changes, it's quite possible that Goodwin will go in with an unchanged team.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, who do you think will come and go?
Look, it's very hard without there being a Resi's game during the week. It's very hard to judge the form of the players that didn't play. Guys like Brayshaw, Tyson, Tommy Bug. So I don't know. I was a bit out of it today. I was travelling and I've got a bit of the flu, in case you can't tell. So I saw an article, or I saw Brayshaw was interviewed somewhere, and it sounded like he was ready to play. So we thought he might not have made it into the team because of his wisdom teeth. What's your take out of that?
As why he didn't play on the weekend, or whether he'll... not sure about Brayshaw. I don't know why he's not in the team, but I'm not 100% sure that he'll be in this week.
Do you think
perhaps... And I've got him in my best 22. But when I think about the changes for this week, I'm not sure that he's necessarily going to get a Guernsey.
What about Corey Maynard? Do you think they'll persist?
Yeah, I think if there is a change, Maynard would probably be the first to go, and he'll be replaced by either Tyson or Brayshaw. I'd swap Tyson for Maynard. As at least one change.
Drunken one.
And I'm a big fan of Maynard, but I'm starting to doubt why. I think I read about him before I saw him, and he sounded great. He's a big-bodied midfielder, but I just haven't seen anything that's really struck me yet as particularly sort of outstanding, any one feature. What do you reckon about him?
Yeah, well, I'm in the same camp of you. I haven't seen him. I've only seen him in 2 games. Well, more than that. I've seen him in the 2 AFL games he's played, and I've seen JLT here and there. I haven't seen any of his VFL games. I've read about him, and according to everyone who has seen him, they've got big raps on him, and I'm sure the coaching staff do. But I haven't seen that yet. I'm waiting to see what everyone else is seeing, and I haven't seen that standout star yet.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I will see
it doesn't
him.
even need to be star quality, but you want to see sort of some elite traits. I just don't know what they are at the moment. I suspect one of Tyson or Brayshaw might replace him this week.
Yeah, I think that's where the change is going to be, unless they do take out one of the forwards, whether it's Hannon, Fritsch, Garlett. I don't think Garlett will go. And
I don't think Fritsch will go either.
No.
Drunken makes the point that he had 5 tackles too. So,
and he had the 7th highest fantasy stats for the team, which those 5 tackles definitely would have helped, because I think you get a lot of points for tackles.
Yes, yep. And that's what let us down really on the day. I don't think the other forwards would have had too many tackles between them.
Yeah. Well, look, there's a lot of improvement to come. I dare say we're not going to have another game where most of our backmen have a down day. I mean, Hibberd, Jetta, Lever, had stinkers, particularly in the first half. Can't see them having too many stinkers like that.
Jaden Hunt hasn't been himself and for quite a while. Yeah, he didn't have a good end to the year last year.
And the JLT.
Didn't shine in the JLT, and
he has been carrying a bit of an injury throughout the pre-season. I read a little bit today saying he not on the track today.
What's the injury? Do you know?
Well, I don't know if it's an injury, but there were a few players that weren't on the track, and that doesn't mean they're necessarily injured. But
someone made a point that, because I think he copped a big hit against Adelaide, didn't he, or a fall last year. And someone made the point that it was after that game that he's been off his off his game a bit.
Yeah, it's possible.
I don't know whether that's true or not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he'll get dropped for that. It could be. You want to be playing your fittest players out there. So, yeah, I mean, not much more to say about the game. You can't. I don't think we can blame Maxi for missing that goal. Would have loved him to kick it. But you have a look.
It was an easy shot.
It was an easy shot, but look, Menzel was in the goal square and missed one. I mean,
yeah, and that would have, sealed the game for them. So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, would have liked to have
Lewis's ridiculous 50.
He has
there's a million incidents in a game that.
I really
that all add up.
I really don't think there was a need for Lewis to do that.
No, it's terrible.
You're going to cop free kicks against you, and you just can't explode like that. Umpires are going to punish you for that, and we did. They kicked a goal, and in the end, that's a goal that cost us the game.
I cannot stand that, giving up goals like that. Just a gift.
It is. All right, well, maybe we'll move on from that. I mean, we...
Is Bug a chance of playing this week?
I like Bug, and I thought the coaching staff did. Look, my one bug about Bug is his kicking for goal.
Disposal.
Well, not necessarily his disposal, more so his finishing, I guess you could say. But I think we play better with him in the team. I was a little bit surprised when he wasn't named for the first game. But
do you know what's interesting about Bug? Just as a side note, I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, but he's involved. He's doing this big sort of give back thing where I don't know. He offered to pay
the
for someone's
memberships.
membership,
And not
and
just
all his
not just a membership. I think in the sort of a premium membership in the
yeah, it was
Legends
like a
or whatever.
Legends membership, wasn't it?
Yeah, good on him. You know,
Is he sort of consciously rehabilitating his image after what happened last year?
yeah, it seems like it. Well, maybe he's just a good bloke, or trying
Yeah,
to be one.
just
A
um,
bit of PR, you think?
I wondered. I'm a cynic, of course, um, so yeah, let's give him the benefit of the doubt uh, and say it's all sincerity and from the heart. So yep, I just thought it was interesting.
Now there was a bit of a meltdown we had on the forum yesterday when some footage from training and a news report about Jesse Hogan going in for scans on his elbow were announced. Now it turns out that someone went to training today and he looked fine and was still, his elbow's heavily bandaged, but looked like he was moving pretty well. So that's certainly heartening. Poor Jesse, that's the last thing sort of he needs and we need as a club, for him to be out for an extended period.
He was pretty good on the weekend, wasn't
Yeah, I think he's playing really well. Um, he's good to watch, and look, I feel for him. I felt for him a few times, when we were going in and he had two guys on him, and it's hard to beat, two guys.
he? Yeah.
But the reality is that we don't have Tom McDonald for 6 to 8 weeks, and
But really, Pedersen should be. I mean, I know they're different players, but Pedersen is effectively sort of standing in for McDonald. So I don't know how it ended up that he did seem to be always 1v2. So I don't quite know how that happened.
well, I don't know, what do you do as a coach to sort of break that?
Well, they're running him running him in the middle occasionally, but that. Then when you do that, then you do only have the one forward in there who can be double teamed. I guess then you're relying on the smaller forwards, perhaps. And, they've started doing this chaos ball in. Well, it's the torpedo, but ends up being a chaos ball because, only 1 in 10 torps work, which I think is to try and take advantage of the medium sizes and the smalls in Hannon and Fritsch and Jeffy and Track when he's in there.
Mm. Well, it'll be interesting. We've got a game this week against a team that was finished quite low on the ladder, but is an up and coming team, and these are the games that we usually drop or don't play our best. I'm sure we're going to go into the game hot favourites, and for the old Melbourne Football Club, that's not the best position to be in.
I'll be surprised if we drop the game this week.
I'm
pretty confident.
I didn't watch their game against St Kilda, but it seems that
I saw some of it. Yeah,
it seems they took it up to St Kilda, but I don't know how well St Kilda replaced. So, I mean,
yep.
I mean, we've got to win. If we go in 0-2, we're in a little bit of trouble.
Well, Sydney started last year 0-6.
That's the only thing that's giving me any.
And did all right, so it won't be microwave membership time. But they wouldn't want to drop this week, and I don't think they will.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. That's for sure. What else has happened in the world of Demonland this week? Anything else going on? I've been so out of the loop. Had a bit of a flu, and it's
a lot of criticism for Lever. saying we pay too much and he's crap and he can only play third man up and, got problems with monster forwards. Mind you, Oscar kept Hawkins pretty quiet. But Lever's still so young, and to look at him out on the field, he looked really small, didn't he? He looks a bit like a kid. And that includes, his body hasn't filled out properly yet, or perhaps not finished growing, and putting on a bit of size. So, yeah.
We talked about this a little bit in the pre-season. Do you think Frost should be in the team and maybe let Lever play as that third man up?
I'm not sure on Frosty. I was a fan, but I tend to think not. I think it might take a little bit for the current setup to gel properly, but I've got a feeling that Goodwin will probably stick with it. And I think a lot of people saying Wagner should be dropped too. I think he'll persist with Wagner, even though he didn't have a very good first half. Although, as we said, he's not the Lone Ranger there.
No. What about, I was just thinking...
Because Hibberd can also play intercept a bit.
Yep.
And really, you're relying on, Jetta's very good as well at reading the ball. So if you've got Lever, Hibberd and Jetta, you've got some really good intercept players. And when you're playing the zone defence as we do, that's what you're after. The attraction of Frost is that he's got the pace, so he can provide a bit of run. Not sure. A lot of people saying he should be in.
And I was just thinking back to any players that we missed on the weekend, and Salem. What did you take out of his game?
I thought he looked great early, and then I think I'm imagining the knock that he took probably took a fair bit out of him, because I felt like he went out of the game after that, and actually looked quite sluggish.
Yeah, I agree. I think early on he had a few really nice touches, and definitely after that knock on the on that outer wing from where we were, he sort of looked a different player.
Yep.
All right.
But, the doubters are, the doubters have got their sights on Salem too. There's plenty on the forum who have got the pitchforks out already. Goodwin's in their sights, the captain's in their sights. People saying the year's almost pretty much over already. It's going to be hard to climb out of 10th spot now.
Well, look at last year. Look at last year. What were we early on? Were we 4 and 5 at one stage?
Yep. We were pretty close the whole year, weren't we?
Yeah.
Sort of pretty even the whole year.
We were sort of even. So it's not panic stations yet. I mean, everyone on Demonland, especially after a loss, goes into wrist slashing mode, and I don't think we're quite there yet. Next 2 weeks, Brisbane, North Melbourne, they've got to be wins. If we're 0-3 and we're doing this podcast, let's panic. Then we can start panicking. I don't think we can panic after a loss, a very narrow loss, which, had a kick gone through the goals. We would have got away with a win. It's a narrow loss to a very, very good team. Say what you will, maybe people say Geelong aren't as good as they were, but yeah, they are. They're going to be thereabouts this year. You can't write them off.
Well, I'm with D old fart. If we lose, I won't be logging into Demonland after the game.
Well, I need you to be there because you're a moderator.
There's just the starting of 500 threads that could all go in the post-match discussion.
Yeah, but
come on, people, be organised.
You should know better than that. People want to be heard, and we provide a forum for people to say what they like, and occasionally we have to delete posts that are a bit too nasty. But yeah, that's just the nature of the beast that is Demon Land. Uh, you're not going to the game. I'm not going to the game.
I would have gone to the game if our new sponsor, Melbourne Airport Parking, was offering Melbourne members some sort of a discount.
Well,
but I noticed that our new sponsorship only really applies to the players and staff.
Well, that's funny because I posted that. I just saw that. I was on the Melbourne website, and I saw that we had landed a new sponsor, a new partner, as they call it. And I just assumed that we'd all be getting cheap valet parking at the airport. And this is the press release. Melbourne is pleased to announce Melbourne Airport Parking as an official partner. The new partnership will provide players and staff access to at-terminal and valet parking, reducing travel times for interstate games. But it doesn't say anything about us getting anything. Oh, wait, it does say. It says Melbourne Airport is offering Demon fans 10% off all parking for its round 2 clash against the Brisbane Lions. So you do get. It applies to online bookings, blah, 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 blah. And it excludes business car parking.
Well, we take that back. We are getting something.
Yeah.
But really, reducing travel times for interstate games. I sometimes travel for work during the day, and I leave my car in the airport parking, and it takes all of 3 minutes to walk from the car park to the terminal. Right. So,
first of all,
reducing travel times by a minute or 90 seconds, it would seem.
I would have thought, doesn't the team go on a bus?
On a bus, yeah.
I would have thought they all go on the bus. They all meet at the Junction Oval or where we play Amy Park.
Well, maybe it's like the school bus. It just waits until they get back.
I would have thought they all get on a bus and get to the airport and get out at the terminal anyway, but maybe the staff and... Yeah, it's... But anyway, welcome to our new sponsors, Melbourne Airport Parking.
I've noticed watching Jordan Lewis on AFL 360, he's now got a polo shirt that's got the Infinity, Zurich, and is it iSelect, I think is the other. And it looks terrible. The colours and lettering for Zurich and Infinity are identical. It almost looks like the same badge, except obviously got a different word there. But and they just look like they haven't been sewn on properly.
Yeah,
There's too many patches.
I'm almost positive, and don't quote me on this, but I reckon you could rip off that Zurich logo on their jumpers, and you'll see the AHG logo underneath.
Yes.
I haven't tested that theory yet, but I'm positive that that's what's happened. I think someone was ironing them on just before the season started. That's what it looks like. But look, the club has done a fantastic job in getting all these new partners, getting some big names, and some money to the club. And, all right, who cares what it looks like? These companies have generously given us money, and well done to Peter Jackson and his team for getting the job done. We couldn't get
super stuff.
And look,
super stuff.
Once the team starts performing and getting runs on the board, and we start getting good fixtures and Friday night games, bigger and better sponsors will come on board. And I mean, you can't expect to have big names if you're not getting any exposure or you're not winning. I mean, these sponsors want to be there at finals time and grand final time, because that's where the big bucks are. So, teams got to put runs on the board. So well done to Peter Jackson for getting these sponsors without us sort of getting to the finals table yet. Yeah,
and yet still you have some real dills on the board who think that the club shouldn't do any media until, obviously, I guess we win a premiership. And they sort of say the club should shut up and There's too much talking. These sponsorship deals are not just about whatever happens on game day, but it is about the Jordan Lewises on AFL 360 wearing the polo with the 10 logos on it.
Yeah.
And that's what the sponsorship is all about. So,
so are you
can't
saying that,
shut up shop on the media.
are you saying we shouldn't, oh, not you, are you saying that there are posters on the board who are claiming that we shouldn't have like Max Gawn on the footy show and Jordan
Yep.
Lewis on?
It's funny, the
that's
one
ridiculous.
of all the ridiculous comments on the board this week, the one that I expected to see but I didn't see was Max needs to spend more time practicing his goal kicking rather than going on the footy show.
No, that's, you there's got to be a balance. You got to get your players out there in the media. You got to build up the profile, build up the brand, get the sponsors logos on TV. There's got to be some of that. You can't expect not to have that. If you have a media ban, then you're cutting your nose off to spite your face.
I mean, Gawn is pretty much the number one personality in the game at the moment.
By far, I said it on a previous podcast that my nephews who aren't Melbourne supporters love Max Gawn, and I can't remember a player, particularly not in the last 10 years, and of opposition fans loving one of our players, and he's sort of loved by all. That's a good thing to have.
Yep.
So
did you notice that Adelaide did go on a camp?
Yeah, yes. I've been meaning to sort of say this
and
out there on the boards.
They're
on Twitter.
also in trouble, just like Melbourne.
They got in trouble for going to a camp, and we got in trouble for not going to a camp.
Yep.
You can't win. So
Tex Walker, there was a strange story circulating, I think last night, in the Fairfax papers that there's a split within Adelaide because some players were, I don't know, genuinely put out by what happened on this camp, but also by the captain's reaction to the leak getting out. And apparently there is great discord at Adelaide, although we should take that with a grain of salt because they, I guess, said the same thing about Melbourne, and we probably know that to not be true.
Mm. So what actually happened with so they went on a camp that was quite extreme. Is that what happened?
Yes. Yeah.
So...
I think they were blindfolded and screamed at or whatever happens.
So
they had their phones taken off them and they couldn't call their families.
Well, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, because they've gone on this camp and we could have gone on our camp and the same thing could have happened to us, and then we would have been in the media for putting our players in a camp. It's
there seems to be a bit more substance to the story of discord at Adelaide than there was at Melbourne.
So where's the discord? Is the discord between? I haven't read a lot about it. Is the discord because from the players to the coaching staff of why did you make us go on this camp?
It's more a case of Walker's response to it. He was very defensive about the camp and said it was one of the best things he's ever been on.
Yeah.
And he recommends it to his family and to all his friends.
And then the players are not happy that he said that.
And I think he might have contacted every player and said, I'm going to investigate who leaked this, because they had agreed to keep it within the club. So I think it's within the players and the leadership group.
Well, good. Let's hope that Rory Sloane is not happy with Tex Walker. We might get another player out of there.
The Fairfax story said some junior players, or some newer players, I think, and one star.
Well, they've got a couple of stars.
Yep.
So it could be anyone. Hopefully Rory Sloane.
Yeah, or Lynch. Would we take Lynch?
Oh, yeah, I'd take anyone. any close to A grader, I'll take. what else is going on in Dreamland World? I saw that we got a goal of the year win in the AFLW. Alicia Newman for her
Yep,
run on the wing, and we had
yep,
4 players in the All Australian team. So and Daisy was vice captain.
yep.
So
Daisy, Elise O'Day, Karen Paxman, and Meg Downey
yeah, Meg Downey
in the.
was on the bench.
Yep. So congratulations to those girls, and and to Alicia as well. That was a ripper goal. The counterpoint to that was that she missed from virtually on the
Yeah.
goal line in the final game against the Doggies, which would have helped along the way. But that's footy, isn't it? You kick the spectacular and miss the easy one. A bit like
Well,
Max.
Max kicked one from 40 or 45 earlier in the game. It was a beautiful goal. He can kick goals. I think he himself said he struggles from closer in, so maybe he does need to work on that. Yeah.
Drunken's just noted that Daisy also won the BNF tonight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wasn't aware that was going on. Not a surprise. She's every game in and under.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
All right. So, not going to the game this week. I'd like to go to an interstate game this year at some point, but it's not going to work out this one. I might go to when we play the Gold Coast. Might come up here for that one.
Is that at the Gabba?
That is at the Gabba, yeah. Because of the Commonwealth Games, I think the Gold Coast are playing all their home games either at the Gabba or in their nice sunny Cairns. Rainy Cairns.
That was crazy last week, wasn't
it? It really was. I'm just going through the thread at Demonland, all the different threads that were created after the game, and there is a lot of sky is falling. There is one thing. What did you think of it was on afl.com.au. Ben Guthrie, one of the guys who follows the D's, and when I say follows the D's, he's sort of the Demons reporter from afl.com.au, did his list of top 10 under 23. Now, there was one massive omission from that.
Clarence.
I'll read the list and of course the site won't load. So he had at number 1 Bontempelli, 2 Cripps, 3 Josh Kelly, 4 Jesse Hogan, 5 Isaac Heaney, 6 Christian Petraka, 7 Zach Merritt, 8 Jake Lever, 9 Matt Crouch, and 10 Charlie Curnow. Big omission. How could you not include Oliver? Is it just us D supporters that see him as, a great footballer, or?
No. Oliver gets the credit he deserves for the most part, but he definitely should have been in this list, and ahead of the other Melbourne players, basically.
Yeah, well, that's what I would have thought. Not only should he be on the list, I think he's ahead of all the Melbourne players.
And ahead of a fair few on there. So, I think, Petraka's probably going to get close to Oliver, or is getting closer, but I'd certainly have Clayton before Jesse and Jake, as good as they both are. So really, we should have had 5 in there. And who would I take out?
To take out from the other teams, yes. It's hard to say because each of them brings something different to their team. I don't know whether we talk about this. Do we talk about Jack Watts' game, or do we leave it alone?
Well, Jack he's on track to kick 66 goals. So by my calculations, that could get him the Coleman medal this year. So Jack's going to win the Coleman and we're stuck in 10th. So I think that's all that needs to be said. The verdict is in. Jack has had the last laugh. We've made a massive mistake getting rid of, if he's going to win the Coleman medal, the best forward in the league. So that's all that really needs to be said, doesn't it?
I love how there is a thread dedicated to Jack Watts on Demonland that's sort of charting his 2018 year. And
God, it's going to be painful, isn't it?
yeah.
Did you see any of that game?
I saw his first goal, and that's all I saw of the game.
It was a classic Watts game, and he's got value. There's no doubt about that. But at no stage did I think during our game, I wish Jack was out there, or that we're missing Watts, or I didn't think about him at all.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're not going to discuss each game by saying if Jack Watts was in the team, would we have won? And, I don't think we can think like that anymore. That's the past. He's not there. And I don't wish any ill will on Jack either. I hope he has a good year, except when he plays against us, of course.
Yep. But speaking about threads that probably shouldn't be on there,
yeah.
This is a bugbear of mine. When is it going to be time to lock down the Essendon thread? We've now had an Essendon thread on the board for, what's 2008, what is it, 3 years now, 4 years this saga's been going on. And the most recent incarnation of it is, it's the end of the Essendon saga thread, or whatever it's called, the fat lady singing, and yet people are still talking about Essendon. It's crazy. And Essendon shoved this saga down our throat for so bloody long, it seemed to go on for a decade. So the last thing we should be doing is perpetuating the conversation about Essendon, because I'm just sick of hearing about them and seeing them at the top of the board.
Yeah, look, if you want me to delete it, I can do it right now. If you would like the thread deleted, please send a check or money order.
Maybe we should do it. There's only a handful of people that ever go in there, but they just keep harping on about it.
Yeah, I don't think I've looked at that thread for a very, very long time, and as far as I'm concerned, it's over. I think people are just upset that Essendon are being treated as the media darlings of the AFL.
But we perpetuate that in a way by continually talking about them too. We should just forget about I won't swear, but I don't know how anyone is not sick of talking about Essendon by now. As I say, we had it shoved down our throats for so long.
Yeah.
And I've got support immediately in the chat room from D. Oldfart saying, here. So maybe we should do a poll and see what the punters think.
Okay. I've just seen that Red and Bluebeard in the chat room has said that Rory Sloane has just signed a contract extension to 2021. Well, there you go.
No, he's corrected that and said, no, he hasn't. It's Rory Laird. Sorry.
Rory. There you go. That's what happens.
Well, you can be banned for publishing false information, so careful, Red and Bluebeard, what you go putting about there.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else before I fall asleep? I apologise for my lackluster enthusiasm for this podcast today. It's a bit of flu, with a bit of travel, with a bit of, still depressed about the result on the weekend. Anything else grapeviney?
Nope. Go Demons.
Go Demons. Yeah, let's. I hope we get a few people going up to Brisbane and checking out the Ds. I know the D Army will be there in full force, and you can check out them on Facebook or Twitter, and I'm sure they've got some deals going on to get you there.
I hope they get a discount at Melbourne Airport parking.
Well, they should,
They should get the same benefits that the players and staff do, because they do an important job.
They do. They certainly do. All right, I think we're going to end it there, and we'll be back next week. Hopefully, I've got a little bit more energy going into next week, and a win will go a long way to making.
It's just like the players. You've had a lacklustre first half.
I really have. I apologise. Maybe we can get Super Mikado back on next week to sort of bump up the energy stocks. All right, that's been the Demonland podcast. My name is Andy, and thank you, Grapevine, for joining me.
Good night, Andy. Hope you're feeling better.
Thanks, mate.